Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. I know I said I was going to pick up with Spire's End Hildegard Part 2 later this afternoon, but I kind of had a little bit of time to sit with it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not really that interested in that game, so we're going to table that exactly when it was. Anyway, the game we're coming back to is Invaders from Dimension X by Tiny Battle Publishing. This one has us depicting battles between the 124th Galactic Marine Raider Battalion of the Unified Space Alien Defense Force and the Chaots, which is an alien group in Dimension X. In this case, we're playing the first scenario, that being running the gauntlet. This is mostly to kind of let me push some pieces around the map, get the feel for how everything works before I decide if I want to explore it further. Now, I have made no bones about the fact that in my wargame experience, hex-and-counter games, actually, let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. There we are. Hex-and-counter games kind of scare me a little bit, especially with some of the bigger stuff that I've seen. So I figure, let's see if something smaller warms me up a little bit on the hex-and-counter front. If you're wondering what this die is for, that's something that's part of the scenario in particular, where, given that we're running the gauntlet, we actually don't start with any of our units off the board. So, we have to summon we have to use a request reinforcement special action to bring them out. Right? Let's see. Marine units enter the game from off-map and enter at hex 322, which is what that die is, paying the normal road cost, which is half a movement point. You enter in 4 distinct groups, one on each of 4 consecutive turns, starting with the first. So it looks like we'll have the first group enter the board. And our goal in this scenario is to get both of our logistics units who actually enter in turn 3, who actually start entering in turn 3. Our goal is to get them all the way through to the right side of the board, and get them off the board, paying the normal movement cost. But that ends with an overwhelming. Actually, if we're able to move both logistics off the map, along with an HQ and a combat unit, that's an overwhelming victory. But we get a decisive victory if we get the logistics unit off the map and 12 Chaos units. Major victory if we get a logistics unit off the map and 12 Chaos units off the board. An average victory if we get 1 logistics off the map. Minor if we eliminate at least 12. In every other case, we suffer a minor defeat. So, I think after that ramble, we're all set to get into this one. So let's see what we're doing here. What's the warning? I wish it would tell me what this was. And I probably have to tap into YouTube to see what that is. But everything looks like it's stable. So, let's jump in on our first turn. We get 2 scouts out on the board. The numbers, let's see, I believe the upper right is the movement points. In the top right, yep. Then the number there is that combat. That's probably combat, bottom left, yep. Okay. And I think the last number is probably defense. So since we do want to eliminate units if we can, I've got my line laser pointer here. What I actually want is a point laser pointer as well. So I'm going to get another one of those ready to go so I can leave 1 in here. This being the game room. Let me get a line laser pointer ready that I can leave in here. Forgot I got this pack of half a dozen laser pointers a while back. There we are. That's a little bit, I was going to say it's a little on the weak side, but I think it'll do for what I need it to. So there, hopefully you guys can see the units I'm trying to point at. And you take a closer look. That laser pointer is actually pretty weak, and it's very heavily lit. Well, good morning, Jay. You have this game and have never played it, so this session will be very helpful. Well, we'll see if it's very helpful or not, because I'm only on my second or third play of this myself. I think this laser pointer will work. Yeah, that laser pointer will work a lot better. That's what I'll be using to determine line of sight. So, I have an option with in the movement phase that I could either do a full move, getting all of the movement, full fire, getting all of the fire action, or do a shoot and scoot, which would cut it in half. Or we've got we've got special actions that we could use for recon, build strongholds, rally, resupply, or request reinforcements. We'll need the request reinforcements action when the HQ unit gets on the board. So, given that I've got a warrior unit up here, I'm probably going to do a shoot and scoot. I'm thinking, so I get half. So basically I get half and half. So I believe I can take the shoot and scoot in. Yeah, so we'll take the scout doing a shoot and scoot. Firing unit refers to the combat factor, the number of dice normally rolled. No range limitation. So we are going to have one of these units use line of sight, and as you can see there, although my hand is probably covering it, but that's how low I've got to get it down so I can actually show it. But there is line of sight between the two units. So I'll have this scout fire first, and I would only get half an imaginary line. Okay. Now I got to figure out what. Okay, so reduces the combat factor by 1 in each of the following cases. The unit chooses the shoot and scoot, so we only get 2 dice. We only get 2 dice. We're not stunned, and the targeted alien unit's is in a clear space. We don't get any of the bonuses, so we roll 2 dice. And if we roll a greater than the unit's defense number, in this case that is a 3 on that warrior, that'll be a hit. Yeah. Okay, we did get a 5 in there, so that warrior is actually hit and taken out. That's our first unit. We get a shoot and scoot. So we're going to do 1/2, 1, 1.5. Because that's the movement allowance that we have in the upper right corner. And road hexes cost half a movement point each. So does the forest count as blocking terrain? Seems likely to. Well, it's okay. So it looks like it. Let's see. Okay, so if it crosses block, okay, forest is blocking. So I think this other scout's going to do full move, which has got 3 movement points. 1/2, 1, 1.5. 2, 2.5, and we'll stay there. We'll get some cover there. That'll do it for the turn. So now we go into the chaos activation phase, and all of my activation shits are in this cup. So we'll pull one out and figure out what the hell the chaos units are doing. All right, we've got. Once it decides to focus, I'm trying to bring it into focus, but it's not cooperating with me. There we go, at least it's legible. Drop pods. Now what drop pods do, we roll a die to determine the number of chaos units that will arrive. So I've got a D6 in here, so I'll bring the drop pods over here. We're determining how many will land. That's 2 units that are going to come out. Then randomly select that number of units from the cup. So I've got my unit cup over here. We'll draw 2 of those out. Okay, so we've got another warrior coming out, and the monolith. Uh-oh. So we'll roll for a random hex to see where they land. And that'll be 3d6. We'll read these 3 dice as red, white, blue. So the warrior looks like it just goes anywhere. Yep. So we've got a 664. That one's going, so the warrior is going down here, and then the monolith is going to land at 631, which is down here in this forest. Okay, and then we check victory conditions. Let's see. Yep, cat's activation phase. So we check the instant. We check for the instant victory condition, but we don't have that. So we draw a. There's at least one cat's chip remaining in the cup. We've got plenty of those. Got those in the cup. What brings out the mission goal? Okay. Wait. Yeah, check the instant victory, so no. If there are any cat's activation chits left in the cup, draw one of the remaining cat's mission chits and look at it. So that's what we've got right here. Okay. So we've got decapitate command control. And what that means is if there are no active HQ units on the map, the cats win. So wait a minute. Against the situation on the map. So if I'm understanding that correctly, since there are no active HQ chits on the map, would they just win the scenario right here? That seems a little bit too unlucky, but I'm just seeing if there's a special rule in here that chit can't trigger a win in the early stages of the scenario. Yeah, I don't see anything in here that says something about. I don't see anything in here that says anything about if that chit just comes out early. Randomly draws one of the remaining cat's mission goal chits and looks at it. Yep. Draw at the end of the game. Yeah, I don't really like that. I'm looking in this. Excuse me, got another frog in my throat. But I'm just looking at the scenario here, and it definitely looks like we check it immediately against checks the drawn cat's mission goal chit conditions against the situation on the map. I guess where I'm rambling with this is since we don't technically have any HQ units on the map yet. It looks like they would just win the scenario on the spot. I don't like that, so I'm actually going to draw a different chit because that means the scenario basically would end on the spot. So I'm going to draw a different mission goal chit. I'll put that back in for later because I don't like that being a thing that can happen. So we're going to draw interdimensional portal instead. Interdimensional portal is a secret interdimensional portal located in the same hex as the monolith. If no monolith is present, then it is located in the hex with the overlord unit in the highest numbered hex. If there's no active marine unit within 3 or fewer spaces of the portal hex, the cats win. If there's no monolith or overlord unit, the cats cannot win with this chit. You're kidding me. That's 2 that could be instant wins in just the right situation because, let me zoom in here. Because here's the monolith down here toward the end of the board, right? if we go 3 out, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Basically what I'm getting at is that there are no active Marine units within a space of that either. So yeah, I'm just... I really just... That's bothering me a little bit. I'm not going to lie about that. So I'll pull yet another one out, and then I'll throw these two back in. I'm not going to lie, though. The fact that there are potentially at least... Actually, now that I look at it, there are at least 3 chits that look like they just end the scenario on the spot. I do not like that at all. Enslave. Okay, we can probably deal with that. Enslave says, if half or more of the Marine units on the map are stunned or paralyzed, they're captured and enslaved, and the Chaots win. Okay, that feels a little more manageable, but still, that's bothering me a bit. And I'm just shaking up the Chaots mission shit. That bothers me more than a little bit. That you could potentially just have the scenario end on the spot with just the right configuration of the... That you could potentially just have the scenario end on the spot if you pull just the right shit. And you're not... and especially on turn 1. Okay, that actually also made the laser pointer a whole lot stronger. So now it should be now it's a lot clearer to see where everything is. The battery ended up turned in the point laser pointer the wrong way. So yeah, that is not sitting well with me at all. And I never did figure out what happens with the used chit is placed to the side. Okay. So the used activation chit, which means drop pods. Actually, I can grab a bag for drop pods because I won't need that. I can start grabbing a bag for the Chaots mission chits. I'm like, okay, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, fine. We can deal with Enslave. So now we got our next units on the board. We've got our HQ unit coming out with a movement factor of 2, 3 combat, 3 defense. Then our heavy weapons, 2 movement, 5 dice, or 5 combat factor, defense value of 4. So now each of our units can do actions. Question is, what do we want everybody doing here? Let's see. We do need to get the... we could theoretically have the HQ do a full fire here, I think. Because there is a warrior right here that he can see with no intrusions. And I believe there's also a clause in here about the... There's a clause in here about the... if the aliens occupy the... Yeah, if the aliens occupy map hex 322. Nothing in there about if the Marines occupy it. So I think I will have the heavy weapons from 322 take a shot at this warrior, see if we can get rid of him. And I need 2 more D6s for that. Fortunately, in what I call my downy dice, I've got 2 more D6s. So aiming at this warrior up here, he needs at least a 3. What is the question mark for, though? Let's see. If 3 more hits are scored, so actually this warrior should still be on the board. That should be 3 or more hits. Okay, so we will actually have the heavy weapons aim at this warrior instead. Let's see, does it have to be... If 3 or more hits are scored, each combat die that is greater than the unit's defense number. So we've got a 4 in there, 3 3s, and a 2. So that heavy, so the heavy weapons isn't going to be able to do anything about that warrior. What do I want everybody else to do? I think HQ is going to start moving. Let me just double check there. Oh, they actually get a 6th die, so I'll just toss this in because why not? That's another 4, but that wouldn't do anything. Okay. So the heavy weapons is done. What do I want everybody else doing? I think I will have the scouts. I think I'll have the HQ get moving, though. 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2. We'll try to get them moving as fast as we can. How much does it cost to move through forest? Moving through forest costs... Forest and rough cost 2 movement points each. So I think this scout's going to go 1, 3. So this heavy weapons isn't doing anything else. Scout is going to do a full move as well. 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2.5. Let the other half point go floating. We might have to take the long way around to get off the map. That'll do it for... Actually, wait a minute. Are those connected spaces? Probably not in buildings. Building and bridges are considered to be road hexes as well. That's good to know. But it doesn't really affect us right at the moment. So... Okay, I think we're doing another chaos activation at this point. Alright, we've got Energy Volley, number 2 to number 6. So, eligible alien units each conduct combat against the nearest active Marine. So that is Warriors 2 to 6. Do we have anybody 2 to 6? We've got a Warrior. Looks like he's conducting combat against this HQ unit. So he gets how many? So we've got Warrior 2. I'm actually going to grab some blocks. Actually, I've got more small... I should have more red dice that I can use. Here we go. I'll just prepare these so I can mark which units I've attacked with. Just to help me keep track of everything. So we've got this unit attacking this HQ. We'll do that. He gets 4 dice. And he needs to get something greater than a 3. Alright, that's a 4, so that's 1 hit, which means the Marine unit is which means the HQ unit is stunned. It seems like there should be a marker for that. There probably is a chit in here that I don't have out. There are chits I don't have for that out. Let me get those ready to go. Let me get those out here as well. So we've got a stunned. So that unit's done. This one is also going to attack the same HQ unit. Okay, that's another hit. Question is, if he's already stunned, does he become paralyzed again? Would he become paralyzed? Because I know a lot of the war games I've played have that kind of ramp up. I'm just trying to look that up here. Okay, so yep, those do stack. If a previously stunned Marine unit gets stunned, they become paralyzed. So the HQ unit is now paralyzed. No move or combat factors. So that's a problem. But those are also the only units that can actually do anything. So now we'll draw out, those are the activation chits. I want the gold chits, which are these ones. We've got summoning. Let's see how summoning ends. If there are at least 8 active Chaos units on the map, the Chaos win. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Am I going to keep kicking up a fit here at this point? Because we've got 10 active units already on the map. Do I think I'm kicking up a fuss at this point? I think they all come out active. I think they all come out on their active side. So drop pods. Oh, if an active monolith is on the map, I don't think it was at the time. The drop pods came out last turn. That was one of the units that brought it out. Activated alien units resolve their actions to completion in unit number order. Okay, which we did that. It looks like they all come out on active side, presumably. Just checking that. Yes. That's what I'm seeing here. So, I don't think we fight it anymore. I think we just... Because right now we're at a point where there are at least 3 chits on the board where the scenario just ends on the spot. So once we draw the chit, it begins the next turn's marine action phase. Oh, those actually don't come out until later. Never mind. I'm an idiot. Those don't start coming out. Those actually don't start coming out until the activation cup is empty. Silly me. Okay. Yeah. Because I didn't read all of the words in the rule book. Player checks the instant victory conditions, yada yada yada. If he still hasn't won per the scenario's conditions and there are still Chaos activation chits left in the cup, straighten out all the activated marine units and begin the next turn's marine action phase. That only kicks in when there are no Chaos activation chits left in the cup. So, yeah, Phoenix Knight apparently decided to be an idiot again today. And now we've got more units coming out. Wow, that was a big thing to miss. Good thing somebody decided, hey, he better read all the words and he better actually decide to use his intelligence and read all the words. Anyway, now that we've got that mild rant out of the way about me being an idiot, let's jump right back into the action, shall we? Who can rally? I think that is... Oh, that's all stunned and paralyzed units. Let's see, rally... That has to be a 5. So, on a roll of 5 or more, remove the stunned marker or flip the paralyzed marker to its stunned side. Okay, if an active logistics unit... we can get a logistics next to it, so I think we will. Half, 1, 1.5, and we'll leave it there. This, what is this? This is an HQ unit. He will try to rally. He gets a die roll on a 5 or more. We'll remove the stunned and we'll flip paralyzed to stunned. We do have a +2 since we got a logistics unit there. That's a 4 +2 is 6. He will flip that over to his stunned side. Okay. So the heavy weapons, now that I actually know how firing works, is going to aim at this warrior up here. With 5 dice, needs greater than 3s. That's a 1. So on 1 hit, I think we flip it over to dormant. Don't we? Let's see. If any normal Marine combat roll, not when firing a bump gun, yields 2 or more 1s, but is then flipped to out of ammo. Yikes. Okay, that is rather unfortunate. So the heavy weapon flips over to being out of ammo. Note that if... Okay, ignore any further out of ammo. So we've got possible ways to get them resupplied, which is active logistics. Okay, so Marine Squad will move as well. 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. And I think that is their way to mark who's been activated. I don't think so. Actually, yeah, we'll do this. So activated, 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 activated. Then we've got our 2 scouts. That is going to be rough terrain for 1, 3. Activated. 1, 2, 3. Activated. We should probably come try to take out this monolith. Alright, that'll send us into the Chaos activation phase, so we need another one of these. This time we've got shutdown, odd number, not within 3 of the monolith. All odd numbered units flip to dormant unless within 3 spaces. So odd numbers. So this Overlord flips to dormant. This Overlord flips to dormant, and this Warrior flips to dormant. That could have been worse. Those are done. So now we're back into the Marine turn. And we get our last 2 units for the scenario. Now we do have a logistics unit, so now a logistics can resupply the heavy weapons squad, so he will. So that logistics unit is activated. The scout is going to do a full move. Well, actually, who do we need to get off the map in this scenario? I think it's the... right, we need to get the logistics units off the map. So we need to get these 2 off the map. So we're going to go... We're going to have the Marine Squad move 1.5, or half, 1, 2, 3, 4. Try to come down to the monolith, see if we can deal with that. So that unit's moved. Now for the scout, it's going to move as well. 1, 2, 3. He's gone. This HQ is going to try to rally again with the logistics unit right there. He will rally, so he'll flip back over to full strength. This logistics unit is going to move half, 1, 2. We'll try to use some natural cover here to get through. We'll use some natural cover to try to get the logistics, at least one of those logistics units out. And then this scout is going to move. Do we want to try to take something out here? Let's see here. Let's see. So we got the scout that we've got to move last. He will move. Actually, we got to move these 2 as well. This heavy weapons is going to try again with this warrior up here with 5 dice. Let's see, 4-4 we come up just short, unless we get some kind of bonus from a unit being adjacent. Adds 1 active to an active HQ unit, which he's not. Targeted unit is dormant. Okay, so we are just short of being able to take this warrior out. So heavy weapon is done. The Marine squad will try his luck. He will not be able to take it out either, but at least we rolled only 1-1. So everybody's all done there. Okay, let's see what the cats are doing here. Uh-oh. That's an Overlord's command. That will require me all active alien Overlord units within 3 hexes of an active Overload. All active alien Overlord units. I don't think any of them are active. Nope, they just flipped over not too long ago. So, yeah, I think we get, with an active Overlord, nope, nobody. So that means we draw another chit out of the bag, or out of the cup. We've got a reboot. Roll a die for every dormant alien on the map. On a 3 or more, it flips back to its active side. If it's within 3 hexes of an active Overlord or Monolith, it's automatically made active. So we'll start with this Overlord first. He stays dormant. This Overlord, what did we say, 3 or greater? Yes, 3 or more flips over. And I think this warrior automatically flips over based on what I was reading. Because if it's within 3 hexes of an active Overlord or Monolith, it's already automatically made active. Yep. Okay, now that we got that figured out, now we're back to our turns. Alright, 6, 8 dice. Let's see, we're getting close to being able to take a shot at this monolith. So I think here we'll go... We've actually got line of sight on this warrior. Well, we're passing through rough terrain, so we actually don't have line of sight. Right? Combat. Yep. That line crosses inside or... Draw an imaginary line of fire from the center of the fire unit's hex to the center of the intended. Okay. Okay, so... I think... we are going to... We're going to be getting into position pretty soon to try to deal with this monolith, I think. Actually, this HQ is going to move first. 1/2, 3. Actually, 1/2, 1.5, 2. Although that's asking for trouble. So let's actually not do that. So he was here. Actually, I think he was here. Let's go... It's logistics units we need to get off the board. So 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2. And that's it he's got for movement. So he's done. This heavy weapons is going to do another full fire at this warrior. Just so we're not running the gauntlet. Okay, that's a 4-4-6, so we actually get to take out the warrior, finally. Then this Marine squad is going to do a full move. 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, actually 2.5, 3, 4. Then this scout, actually this Marine squad, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can try to take out this monolith. 1, 3 for the scout. We'll go 2 for this HQ unit. 1, 2, 3 for the actually 1, 2 for the logistics. That one's done. And then this scout is going to move. This last scout's going to move where? 2, 3. So all of our units are done. Now we'll draw for the Chaos activation. Can the monolith even be taken out? Probably not, but we'll find out. I don't know if the monolith can actually be taken out. It doesn't look like it, though. All right, we've got Terror from Beyond. Uh-oh. Every Marine unit adjacent to an active alien unit or within 3 spaces of it, of an active monolith, that the Marine unit can also see is made paralyzed. Right, so these two are both paralyzed. And, yep. So we draw another activation chip. Warp jump for odd-numbered. Each eligible unit is picked up from its random hex and placed directly into a random hex. So we'll go for the Overlord first. We'll go for this Dormant Overlord. I believe that is... Yep. So that Overlord's going to 111. This is odd-numbered only. Overlord 7. Is moving to 254. 254, yikes, that could be a problem. Warrior 9 is moving to 565. That is 565. That's back here. And that's it. So the aliens are done with their turn at this point. And that brings us back to our turn. Yikes. So we ended up with an Overlord all of a sudden adjacent, which I think the heavy weapons unit is going to see about that. They need so we need 5s and 6s to take it out. And if we eliminate an Overlord unit, we can possibly take one of those nasty chits out that we saw earlier. I think we get +1. Yeah, we increase its factor by 1 because it's in an adjacent hex. Let me grab another D6 out. There we are. So we've got our dice. We need 5s and 6s. 5-5 or 5-6, but we weren't able to take it out. And I think that only triggers on... Well, that does trigger on 2 1s. That's not good. Alright, so he's activated. He's out of ammo. Yep. That's not good. Let's see. What else do we want to do here? These two are going to try to rally. They need 5 or a 6. So he's not rallying. This is a Marine squad. He's also not able to rally. Logistics moving 1, 2, 3. Actually, 1, 2, so he's going to end up there. Then the scout is moving 2, and that's it for his movement. The 1's going to float away since he's entering the forest. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the Marine squad. This HQ moving 2, and that's it. This logistics moving half, 1 and a half, and the other half's going to float away. So we're back to our turn, and we'll see what the Chaots are doing on their turn. We'll leave a die out just in case we need something to mark. Alright, we've got an alien rush. 7 and the monolith plus all within 3. So alien and the monolith. Each eligible alien units will each be moved to the nearest eligible hex adjacent to the nearest active marine unit, unless already adjacent. The eligible alien units will then conduct combat against that adjacent marine. So anything within 3 of the monolith, it looks like. Overlords plus everything within 3 units, okay? So we'll deal with the Overlord first. 2 dice. Which will do nothing to the heavy weapons. So all Overlords and anything within 3 of the monolith. That will be this warrior who's going to move here, rolling 4 dice. So if he's paralyzed, so he picks up another paralyzed result, I don't think anything happens from that. So it's actually got 5 dice because it's in an adjacent space. Additionally, paralyzed results don't have any result. So he's got a defense factor of 4. That's 3 of those, but he's already paralyzed, so nothing there. Yeah, no. Okay, so that's back to our turn again. This can go back in its bag. And let's see what we're doing here. Well, these two are going to try to rally again. That's an easy part of the turn. He will rally, so he's now only stunned. Now how about this Marine squad? Nope. Logistics, I think, can resupply. Actually, this heavy weapon squad's going to get moving. Half, 1, 1 and a half, 2. So he's done. This HQ, actually, this... let's go 1, 2. Get the logistics unit moving. This HQ unit's going to move 2, trying to get off the map. And the scout is probably going to try to recon. Yep, rolls 1 die per active scout unit. They assign an active HQ unit to assist. So this scout's going to try to do recon. We are going to assign an active HQ unit to assist with that. So we're rolling 1 to the die roll. If we get to 4 or more, we get to... It's a 4 or more, which that's a 4, so we will get to actually draw 2 activation chits when we go to activate. So he's done. And let's see, logistics is going to move. This logistics unit is going to move 1, 2. And this Marine squad is moving 1, 2, 3. And then that'll be it for their turn. Now we're back over to the aliens again. And since we had successful recon, we actually get to draw 2 chits out of the cup and choose which one we want to activate. So basically, we get the less spectacular of the 2. There's our 2, and we've got Bug Out and Phase Shift Depolarizer. Let's see what those do. Bug Out. Each alien unit located to an active marine unit is immediately removed from the map and placed back into the unit cup. These units are not considered to be eliminated. If at least one unit is so removed, also randomly remove 1 Chaos Mission goal chit from the goal unless only 1 is left. Or Phase Shift Depolarizer. Follow the same procedure as multi-frequency phase nullifier, except all eligible units are made stunned unless they're paralyzed. Well, we definitely don't want that, so I'm going to put that back in the cup, and we'll use the Bug Out, which will actually get rid of each alien unit adjacent to an active marine unit. We'll get... So these 2 are both going back into the cup, which is actually very, very good for us right now. So that actually just clears a big part of the disaster out of the way for us. And we're back to our turn once again. Let's see what we want to do here. 1.5, 1, 2. Yep. He will move there. The adjacent logistics there will then resupply him. Oop. There we go. Let's see. This logistics is going to move 1, 2. Oop. He's going to move 2. He's going to try to rally. He will not. He's going to try to rally. Nope. Two, and the 1's going to float away. And 1, 3. That's it for our turn. Let's go back to the activation cup. Shutdown. Even number, not within 3 of the monolith. So even not within 3, that one will shut down. Actually, a lot of these are going to shut down. So yeah, that actually shut down most of the units we currently have on the board. Which sounds to me like a hell of a golden opportunity to get our units, to get our guys moving. First, we need to see if these 2 can recover. Actually, he's got 2, so he'll move. We'll see if he can rally. Who can assist in rallying? Active logistics. Add 2 to the dice roll. Okay, so we're going to see if we can get both of them adjacent. I don't think we can. We'll go 1, 2. He will try to rally. This is, what is it, a scout, I think. Yep. 1 plus 2 is 3 is not enough for him to rally. He'll try to rally as well. He will not. Let's see here. 2, 3. We'll get that scout off the board. 2. We're working on getting that scout off the board. Let's see. 1, 2. 1, 2. And then he's going to do a... What is he going to do? What is that Marine squad going to do? He's going to try a... He's going to try a full fire. He can fire in, but the dice count will be reduced by 1 because it's moving into rough terrain. So he gets 3 dice. All of these have to be 4 and above to take out this warrior. They are, wow. So the warrior goes away, and he's the last unit to move. Oop. We might get away with this one, to my utter shock. Our activation here is warp jump for even numbers. So each eligible unit is picked up from its hex and placed directly into a random hex. So we'll start off with this Dormant Warrior 8, going into 513. 513 is down here. And for this one, this is Dormant Warrior 10, going to 521, which is right here adjacent to this heavy weapons, who did flip over. Dormant Warrior 2, 262. That is over here. Dormant Warrior 4, 261. Right here. And he's the last one. Okay. So that's back to our turn, is it? Well, let's start by moving this logistics unit 1, and we'll let the movement float away, mostly so he can try to rally with a +2 boost, which he will get that naturally, so he's now stunned. We'll try to have this heavy weapons take out this warrior. 6, and we even need another D6, which I'll just grab one of these. We need 3s. We need 4, 5s, and 6s, which we do take him out, but the heavy weapons is out of ammo. He won't be for long because the logistics unit, actually, I'm going to have the logistics unit move down here so he can resupply on his next turn, and then we can still let the scout roll to try to rally. +2. He will rally, so he's now completely healthy. Then it'll be 2 for that HQ. Then we'll start getting we'll start getting units off the board here. What do we need to get off the board? I think we need to get primarily the logistics off the board, right? Yes. Along with an HQ unit and a combat unit. So we can actually get the Marine unit off the board right now. Half, 1.5, half, 1, 1.5, 2. So he's off the board. We can get the scout off the board as well. 1, 2, 3. And that's it for the turn. So we're starting to get our guys to safety here. And we'll see that'll go in the bag. We'll see what the Chaos are doing next. They've got an energy volley for overlords and anybody within 3. We've got this overlord. Who is he attacking? I think so this is our only active unit. I think he's got a clear line of sight on this heavy weapons. So yeah, 4 dice. Oop. And needs high rolls, which those are not high rolls. So we may have gotten away with one on this. Okay, now back to us. So we need 2 of those. He's going to move there. He's going to try to rally. 1 will not rally. Logistics is going to resupply this heavy weapons. Then 1, 2. Heavy weapons will move there. The scout is not going to chance it here. The logistics is going to move 2, starting to get off the board. Then 1, 3. He'll move in there, and we will be done. So right now it's a race to get our guys off the board before they can recover. Alright, that's a new activation chit for the cats, because of course it is. Alien Rush 8 to 12. So everything will move to the nearest eligible unit. So 8 to 12. Everything's dormant right now, so if they're dormant, they just flip over. So flip, and nope. Looks like the Alien Warrior is the only one who was possibly flipping. So we need to keep our guys moving, though. Logistics is going to move 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and try to rally, which he will not do. Actually, nope. I already called. Actually, I already called it, so he's just going to try to rally. Okay, that's it for the turn. Let's see what they're doing. Alien Rush 2 to 6. Flip and flip. Okay. Let's see. Half, 1, 1.5, 2. So we've got a logistics unit off the board. 2, 2.5, 3. 2. 2. 2. And 1, 2. We've got, looks like, 5 activation chits left in the cup. Phase shift depolarizer. We saw this one referenced earlier. Yeah, we actually pulled this one out earlier. So now we're rolling to get a random hex. 433, which I'll mark that as likely being irrelevant to us right now. Yep, right there. But let's see. All Marine units within 4 hexes of the marker. Oh, great. Which I think is almost everybody right now. That's problematic. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's everybody there. Becomes paralyzed? Yikes. Okay, so, yeah. Everybody becomes paralyzed for the turn. Marker remains in the hex through the next Marine action phase. So that is... Wait, multi-phase... Phase shift depolarizer. Okay, so stunned. Stunned is what that is. But marker remains in the hex throughout the next Marine action phase, and nobody there within 4 or 6 hexes of the marker may attempt to rally, but everything else can be done without penalty. Okay, so everybody's stunned, which with that in mind, I think stunned actually does trigger. So he's paralyzed. Let's see. So those two can't move. He still can. This scout will get off the board. And then that comes off at the next phase, I think. At the end of the Marine action phase. Okay, so this comes off the board. And he flips to being stunned. Energy Volley, 8 to 12. So the only one we have is this warrior, but I don't think there's anybody he can get a clear shot at. He can't get a clear shot. Actually, do we even... I think we check line of sight for the aliens. Reduces CF. Is never blocked by terrain. but reduces... Okay, so if the targeted Marine unit is located in or the alien's line of fire crossed through. So, actually, can he get to this logistics unit without problem? No, he's going to be shooting through... He's going to be shooting through forest right here. Is there anybody he can get to with no problem? No. No. And no. So I think he's just going to shoot at the logistics. So 3 minus 1 is 2 dice. Unfortunately, logistics is quite weak, having only 2, so we need to roll low. That's a 3. There's a 3 in there, so he is going to end up stunned. Fortunately, though, that's the only unit that will commit. That will not commit. That will. What's the word I want? There's a C word. That'll activate for combat. There was a C word I was thinking of, but I couldn't think of it. One of the activation chits went falling on me. Okay, now we need to get these guys out of here. So 2, at least I think same team can. Rally for the logistics. He will rally. And rally for the Marine squad. He will also rally. Okay, we got 4 activation chits left in here for the aliens. We're trying to get our guys out. Alien Frenzy, that doesn't sound good. Roll 2 dice and add them together. Activate all aliens equal to the sum. Such of them increase their combat factor by 2 and conduct an immediate energy volley against the nearest active Marine unit. 3, nobody is activated by that. So, no effect on the chit. So we get away with one there. Ha! And I think we get most everybody out. Half, 1, 1.5, 2. So the heavy weapons unit is out. Half, 1, 1.5, 2. The HQ is out. That's a forest. Half, 1.5. Or half, 1, 1.5, 2. So he's out. And 2. The logistics is still stuck on the map. But assuming he survives this next activation, he will get out on his next turn. A multi-frequency phase nullifier. So we've got to keep it away from this. We got to keep it away from this lower corner of the map. Let's see if the dice will cooperate with me on that. That is a 346. And let's see, 346. That is 346. That's actually way over here. So that will not affect us. We'll get away with one there. And then coming over to logistics, half, 1, 1.5, 2. Does the scenario just end immediately when the victory condition is met? Yeah, if they are able to move both logistics unit off the east edge of the map, along with an HQ unit and a combat unit, so we got everybody off the map, that will result in an overwhelming victory. And we still had, so the scenario is over. We had 2 chits left in the cup. And here I was thinking that the scenario could just end on the, well, the scenario can definitely end on the spot. But I thought it ended probably about an hour ago. But that'll do it for this playthrough of Invaders from Dimension X. I think one thing I'm starting to discover about these hex-and-counter games is, yes, they scare the ever-living daylights out of me, especially when they're big. Especially when they're big, sprawly messes. Something small like this with hex-and-counter, I could probably manage this. This was, and I definitely like the theme of this. The theme really helped here with an alien fight. That helped immensely in terms of being able to manage that. I'm just doing cleanup here while I talk. So, tank on tank is probably about the tank on tank is probably about the limit I have with advanced hex-and-counter. This was actually pretty easy to manage too. So we'll probably see more tiny battle games on the channel, especially if they're small hex-and-counter like this. But this was actually a lot of fun, and I'm not just saying that because I won the game, excuse me, by the way. I'm saying that from the perspective of, yeah, this was not a sprawling hex-and-counter mess like I thought it was going to be. And I think that's the big thing that really scares me about hex-and-counter, especially when you're starting to have to check 5 million things, like you're checking the weather, you're checking rails, you're checking all kinds of terrain bonuses. That kind of scares me off from hex-and-counter more than a little bit. But like I said, this was very manageable. So I'm rambling at this point. Let's wrap the video up. There will be another game coming up a little bit later this afternoon on the channel, and probably one more tonight, but I haven't decided what either of those games will be yet. Stay tuned to the channel to see what those will be. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.